we hired 4 years ago when you got here. Mark Mitchell, I hired him out of Western Michigan. When our new head basketball coach took over, we want to have a basketball strength coach in place when he got in town, just to kind of solidify and get that program going. And I don't know if you followed our basketball team this last year, but really what Mark's done was a process that he started 3 years in a row, just building those athletes. He really does a good job, and really going to give him a chance to share what he's done. But he's a great strength coach and has just done a great job with that basketball program.
Appreciate it, Coach. I want to thank big thanks to Riley. Obviously, a big thanks to our staff here for all the and Coach Easton for all the leadership and mentorship that he's given me over the past couple of years, and just the relationships that we've been able to build with athletes and support staff here. It's been a wonderful experience, and the past 3 years have been extremely gratifying as far as just being able to see a group of guys really grab a hold of a training system, a philosophy, a mentality, a mindset of a head coach, and then being able to display that down on every single level of training, every single level of basketball performance. It's been a fun ride. It's been a special 3 years. So I'll jump right into it. Program mission statement, program philosophy. I want my vision. I want to provide each and every student athlete with the ability to enhance their physical attributes through safe and objective training. Through these means, the strength conditioning program will improve basketball performance and minimize injuries related to competition. I'm a firm believer that the best athletes are the athletes that can stay on the court. We've been very fortunate over the past 3 years. We've had no starter miss any game time. Every starter has made a start every single game for the last 3 years. We haven't had anybody injured, anybody hurt with a contact injury. We had one guy that missed a start due to a concussion this year, and that's the first contact injury that we've had over the past 3 seasons. So if you want to be good and you want to be good at what you do, and you want to make sure that coaches kind of appreciate what you do, keep their players on the court, keep their players on the field, and make sure that they're continuing to perform at a high level in the end season. But again, that's all base work, that's all groundwork for what goes on behind the scenes. And the behind the scenes work of the daily grind of the off season, that's how you prepare for a season. And the preparation that you put in the off season is ultimately going to determine how you're able to perform in the end season, as far as being able to stay healthy and to perform at a high level. Program philosophy. I want to make sure that each and every training session is detailed, organized. It's got structured periodization. There's a plan in place, and obviously, we've heard a lot from a lot of different people about today. The speakers have been outstanding as far as having a developmental approach and being able to have a plan in place, but also have the wisdom and knowledge to be able to make adjustments. I think there's so much that goes on in these guys' lives on a daily basis. There's stress levels, there's school, there's all sorts of stuff that plays into it. You have to be sensitive to that, I think, as a strength and conditioning coach. You have a plan in place, and you have to be able to adapt every single day to get the most out of your athletes. And your plan has to be in place in order for you to make sure that you're gonna get the gains that you want to get throughout the season. Just a little bit about the training philosophy that I have. I want to train highly conditioned, strong, powerful, explosive basketball players that are mentally, physically, and emotionally prepared to win championships. Primary methods of training are centered around ground-based, free weight, three-dimensional multi-joint movements. That's the bread and butter. That's where we're going to get about 85 to 90% of our gains are going to be our big lifts. Our clean-related movements, our Olympic-based movements, our foundational core movements, our hinging movements, our pushes, our pulls, our presses, squatting movements. Those are where we're going to get the most bang for our buck, and those are where we're going to get the most of our strength gains out of. Okay, force application. Coach Easton talked a little bit about this. As a coach, I want to influence my athlete's ability to produce force. Okay, whether that's putting force into the ground or whether that's putting force into something or with contact. I want to be able to influence their ability to apply forces. Our maximal force production, we get that development through our strength movements. Okay, our strength movements, core foundational lifts. All right, like I said, our squatting movements, our hinging movements, pushes and pulls, all right, in the horizontal and vertical plane. All right, those are gonna give us the chance to train in a maximal force production setting. Okay, rate of force production, the Olympic lifts. Okay, I'm a very Olympic-based programmer. All right, I believe in the Olympic lifts. I believe I've got a guy for 4 and 5 years sometimes. All right, 2 at the very least. All right, with junior college players. All right, so I've got a developmental mindset. When I get a guy coming in, all right, I want to make sure that he's got the tools that he needs, all right, from a base level. All right, and I've got time to teach the Olympic lifts. All right, are the Olympic lifts great lifts? You know, yes, they are if you're able to teach them the right way. All right, I'm not saying that everybody should do Olympic lifts. All right, if you don't have the time and the resources to invest in an athlete, teach them technique. All right, teach them stances, grips, setups. All right, you're able to get repetition. All right, then you're not going to see the transfer of training that you might think you're getting. All right, those lifts, they require repetitions. Like I said, you got to practice makes perfect. Okay, so in order for you to see that transfer of training, you got to make sure that you have the time and the resources to be able to hammer home technique in your squat, in your cleans, your snatches, your overhead pressing, your jerk related movements. You got to make sure you hammer home technique. All right, because the benefit of the lift is in the execution of the lift. All right, you see a lot of bad videos online, sloppy cleans, and not going under, not getting under, catching the bar. Okay, the Olympic lifts have to be taught and implemented the right way, and there has to be a teaching progression involved with it, and there has to be a plan in place. All right, I'm not talking just month by month, I'm talking year by year. All right, again, I'm a very developmental approach. I have a very developmental approach with my athletes as far as when do I get them in, what am I teaching them when they first get there, or what are my foundations, what am I teaching them, and how am I going to develop them, all right, between a 4 and a 5 year career, like I said. Transfer force to basketball court. Okay, plyometric, jump training, 3-dimensional movements, acceleration, deceleration training, various jumps in multiple planes. All right, basketball, very powerful, very explosive sport. All right, these guys a lot of times have no idea how to land. All right, they're landing prep. All right, and they land in awkward positions. Okay, so I heard Bobby talk about the 3-dimensional jump matrix. Okay, we do a lot of that. Do a lot of that stuff. All right, from jumps to hops, jops. All right, landing on 2 feet to 1 foot, being able to jump off 1 foot, land on 2 feet. All right, jump off 2 feet, land on 1 foot. Okay, there's a lot of different variations and a lot of different planes of movement. All right, basketball is a free moving sport. All right, it's not in one specific plane. You got to make sure that those athletes are able to absorb forces and then reaccelerate forces into the ground. Okay, so the only way you do that, all right, is again training all those vectors. You got your front, back, you got your side to side, you got your transverse movements. All right, they need to learn how to handle themselves, and a lot of it is absorbing. Okay, they're such a concentric sport. All they do is jump. Okay, they're going to play basketball now. You don't got to worry about that. They're going to get a lot of jumps. They're going to get a lot of change of direction. They're going to do a lot of that on their own, and they're going to get a lot of that in basketball training. You have to teach these guys how to land. You have to teach these guys how to absorb forces. Okay, because they lack that. They lack a lot of the strength to be able to land and absorb those impacts. That's why you get a lot of wear and tear, especially young kids. All right, that all they do is hoop. All right, don't necessarily have a great strength base. They don't have a great training background. Okay, it's critical. All right, that you get them in there and you teach decel. All right, you teach how to slow down. You teach how to land on a jump, and then also, all right, you work the phases of strength, which I'll go into as far as the eccentric movements. And that isometric strength, all right, that stabilizing strength. Again, like I was saying, strength is the key performance factor. All right, to me, all right, the easiest way to get somebody better is to influence their strength ability. Okay, we can't affect what God gave them. Okay, they come in, mom and dad, genetics. All right, they're a certain height. All right, their limbs are a certain length. All right, they may or may not grow. They may or may not develop as far as height goes. All right, genetically, what they're made up of, their fast twitch muscle fibers, we can have a little bit of an influence on that, but for the most part, what mom and dad gave them is what you got. All right, so what are you going to do with it? How are you going to develop it? Okay, got to get them stronger. All right, if you improve their strength, and I'll go over what I believe strength is. All right, it's a very broad, general term, and we'll kind of go into what all the different phases and all the different specific parts of strength. But you have to get them stronger. All right, if they get stronger, they're going to have the ability to maximize everything, all their genetic potential. And I believe that as a coach, it's my job. It's my job to get the most out of everything that they have. Okay, so and I believe that influencing their strength and influence their ability to be strong, is going to give them a chance to maximize their genetic potential. Okay, we've got again, like I said, a lot of different terms. A lot of different terms for strength. We've got maximal strength, we've got relative strength, we've got static, eccentric, starting strength, explosive strength, and reactive strength. Okay, that maximal being that 1 rep max. Okay, that absolute strength. That's very, very important. All right, but the relative strength, all right, is a big one that I stress with basketball, and it's a big one that I kind of evaluate and kind of determine a lot of the direction of my program is their relative strength. Okay, and that's how they move their body weight. Okay, so in their core foundational movements, their squats and their hinging movements, all right, we do a lot of pulls. All right, basketball players are really good pullers. All right, because they're long-limbed, long-levered. All right, they have a little bit of trouble bending. All right, they have a little bit of trouble bending at the knee. All right, but they're great at hinging from the hip. All right, they're great at putting them into a position, all right, and being able to load them, all right, in the posterior chain, and which in turn is great for them because they're such a jumping, elastic sport. That back half of the body, all right, those erectors are the power movers. Okay, so that back half of the body, those hamstring, that butt, that low back, if that's powerful and explosive, if they're able to get out of the hole real quick and be fast and explosive and strong on the backside, they're gonna have a really good chance of being a pretty good basketball player and staying strong and performing at a high level. Okay, eccentric strength and static strength. Okay, big time emphasis in my program. All right, static strength, the ability to hold yourself in any kind of position. All right, whether it's the bottom position of a squat, whether it's in a split position on a lunge. Okay, your ability to hold yourself and statically hold, all right, is going to be a key indicator on whether you're able to stay healthy. Okay, I believe staying healthy is mobility, it's stability, and it's strength. Okay, so if we have all those elements, all right, in our primary joint structures, in our shoulders, our hips, our ankles, our knees, all right, if we're stable, if we're strong, and we're mobile, we're going to stay healthy. All right, and I target that in all three of those areas. All right, all the major movers, all the major functional movements within our body, from an upper body, lower body, total body standpoint. I focus on those areas. All right, we got to be stable, first and foremost. All right, we got to be able to absorb. All right, the eccentric strength. All right, and then we got to be able to explode with the concentric strength. But again, I believe some of the most neglected areas, especially with young guys, and especially with young athletes and developmental athletes, all right, the eccentric and the isometric, all right, or that static strength is often overlooked in training. All right, everybody's so concerned about the concentric, okay, but they don't realize that the static, all right, and the eccentric has a way of complementing the concentric. All right, if you can't absorb fast, you can't reload fast. All right, if you can't hold and brace, you're not gonna be able to get up. Okay, so your ability to stabilize and your ability to absorb landings, absorb force is going to directly affect your ability to concentrically move. Okay, just a few program principles, some things that I hold very valuable within my program, and my players know this, and it's kind of from the top down as far as head coach, strength coach, player. All right, this is kind of an agreement that we have. These are kind of three pillars that are very, very important to our program. Effort, accountability, and toughness. Okay, effort being great energy, strength, concentration in an activity, thought or feeling. Okay, it's a state of mind, all right, that directs your actions towards a specific objective with great energy and great strength. Okay, lots of people have different personalities, and I think that you can let your players be who they are, and I think that they'll respect you, all right, when you allow them to do that. Okay, you know, there's some guys that are vocal, there's some guys that are businesslike. They put their head down, they go to work. Okay, there's a lot of different ways for me personally. There's a lot of different ways to show me energy and to show me intensity. Okay, again, it could be a state of mind, or it doesn't necessarily have to be verbal. Okay, not everybody's going to be your rah-rah guy. Not everybody's going to be, all right, that guy. All right, you need those guys, absolutely, but let your players be who they are. Okay, don't force something in them that they're not that isn't going to come through them naturally. Okay, obviously you need to push your athletes outside of their comfort zone, but again, they're going to respect you, or if you let them be who they are. And again, every athlete comes with their own unique personality. okay? And intensity to me is selling out, all right? It's a state of mind, like I said, all right? It's an intensity, it's a mindset, all right? It's an approach when you, as soon as you walk through the door, all right, what are you thinking about? How is your energy directed? You know, what's your state of mind as you go through training, okay? It's not necessarily, grunting under the bar. It's not necessarily, jumping up and down, all right? Being the rah-rah guy, like I said, all right? It can be focused concentration. All right, it can be all those things. That to me is intensity just as much as anything. Okay, accountability, doing the right thing at the right time every time, taking responsibility for every individual and group action. Anytime you're talking about a team and you're talking about accountability, all right, it's always about the group. All right, it all starts with you as the individual. All right, you got to take ownership of yourself, all your actions, the things that you do. All right, being on time. All right, set rep integrity. All right, when a coach's back's turned. All right, or he's not watching every single thing you do. All right, that's very, very important that you have that in your program. If you don't, all right, you're in a lot of trouble, because it's not going to matter what's on paper. All right, it's what's getting implemented. Okay, so the accountability of your program has to be established first and foremost. Day one has to be laid. All right, the foundation has to be laid from an accountability standpoint. Again, and it's a decision of whether you want to act through a system of concrete values or negotiating compromises. Okay, and it's displayed through the following. Like I said, shows up immediately in set rep integrity. All right, as far as showing up on time. All right, doing the things that you're supposed to do on a discipline. Toughness. Okay, toughness. The ability to withstand great stress or strain. Discovered in the midst of adversity. Toughness to me is both mental, physical, and emotional. Okay, it's all three of those areas to me. Our athletes must mature and develop in all three areas in order for them to thrive in adverse situations. Okay, pushing through pain, discomfort. All right, Coach said it the best way, Coach Eason. All right, being comfortable, being uncomfortable. All right, that's what it's all about. That's what athletics are about. All right, you're going to face adversity. All right, how you face adversity, how you face a challenge. All right, not only in sports but in life is going to determine how successful you're going to be. All right, our athletes must mature. All right, in all three of those areas. Okay, again, and when you're talking about strength and conditioning, you're getting a kid 18, 19 years old. All right, how are they going to be when they're 22, 23 years old when they leave your program? All right, hopefully they're better people. All right, at the end of the day, all right, we can talk about numbers, we can talk about this and that, getting people better. Obviously, that's very important with what we do, but from a discipline, accountability, from just a learning standpoint of how to be a productive member of society, we want our players, we want our athletes to be high character people when we leave. All right, we have to develop, and that's developed. That's developed. Okay, some more principles. All right, as a coach, I want to be comprehensive. I want my program to be balanced. I want it to be very, very efficient, and I want it to be competitive. All right, all four of these areas are very, very important to me as a coach from a programming standpoint. When I'm putting together a program, all right, these things I hold a lot of value in. Okay, not an exact method on how to create a bigger, stronger, faster basketball player. Okay, there's a lot of different areas. All right, there's a lot of different training programs, a lot of different protocols. All right, that work. Okay, again, there's no exact science to what we do, and we've been kind of saying that it's all about how you make your situation work and how your athletes buy into your program. And obviously, there's some standards and guidelines that I'll go over as far as what I believe works and what I believe. All right, but again, all right, all types of training, all right, must be implemented, all right, in the most innovative and researched way. Okay, I want to be balanced. All right, as far as training all different areas of strength, like I went over. All right, all the different areas of strength. I want to be powerful and explosive. I want to be a great Olympic-based lifter. I want to create an athlete that's functional in all areas of his body, from his ankles, knees, hips, shoulders. All right, excuse me. And again, at the end, the implementation and execution of your program will ultimately determine the success of the program. I'm a firm believer in that. All right, it's all about how you implement it. It's all about your implementation and your execution. Okay. Again, a good program on paper is just a good program on paper. All right, how do your athletes buy into it? All right, what are you doing? How are you being time efficient? All right, how are you transitioning from lift to lift, exercise to exercise? All right, what's your athlete's state of mind when they're training? Okay, all that stuff is huge to me. All right, you can do push-ups and sit-ups and get better. All right, if your mindset and your mentality is all about the right things and it's all about how the details and how you're coaching it, all right, you're gonna get better. Okay, but all about implementation, all about execution. All right, that's gonna be the ultimate success or failure of your program. Okay, and then competition. All right, I want everything I do to be about competition. All right, at the end of the day, these guys are competing. All right, we want to breed competition in our athletes. All right, we want to breed competition in our athletes. Every drill, exercise, every coaching cue will have a purpose. Okay, I'm not a big rah-rah guy. I like to coach. I like to pride myself on, hey, I'm going to teach you how to lift. All right, I'm going to motivate you. Everything I say is going to be a coaching cue. It's going to help you get yourself in a better position. It's going to help you get yourself into a position where you're going to maximize the lift that we're doing for the day. All right, so I want to be the best coach possible. And everything I say and everything I do, I want to make sure that I'm very, very consistent in my approach. I believe that if you're consistent with a kid, and you're consistent with an athlete, just by the way that you talk to them, the way that you interact with them, all right, they respect you a lot more. All right, if you're a guy that's up and down, you're really high, you're really low, all right, they don't have any expectation about who you are as a coach, and you fluctuate up and down. Well, this is important to me this day, or this is important to me another day. All right, if your values stay the same, all right, you stay the same, and the way that you coach and the way that you teach these kids, again, they're going to start to respond to it. And again, I'm a firm believer that you have to be consistent in your training, and what you hold true and what you hold valuable, all right, that has to stay the same, all right, through their career, all right, because they're going to respond to it, all right, and they're going to get better at it. And they're going to get, the better they get at the lifts, the better they get at running my program, and the better they get, all right, transitioning in and out of lifts, the better they get learning the way that I do things. It's only going to make them better. All right, it's only going to make what we do a whole lot better. Okay, a little bit on an annual plan progression. I'm going to get into kind of the off season. That's what I'm going to kind of go into today. A little bit in the off season, and for basketball. For me, my primary off season is in the summer months. It's in June and July, okay, and a little bit into August, and then obviously my preseason starts when they get back in the fall, okay. So again, all right, bottom of the pyramid. Always start, all right, that first after the season, that postseason. All right, it's a critical time. I'm actually going through it right now, okay. Right now it's the postseason. All right, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to reestablish their capacity to work, okay. Coming off of the season, all right, their conditioning base from a cardiovascular level. All right, it's pretty good. All right, they're in pretty good basketball shape, okay? But what happened over the course of the year, our exercise economy and our ability to lift, all right, kind of took a back seat, okay? So what do I got to do as soon as they get off the year? I got to reestablish, I got to lay that foundation strong, okay? And I got to build them back up. All right, there's a lot of body compositional changes that happen throughout the course of the year. You got a lot of different types of people. You got guys that played a whole lot. You got guys that maybe redshirted or didn't play at all, that were on more of a developmental plan. Then you got your starters. You may have some guys that are coming back that have a lot of mileage on their tanks. Okay, so you got to manage all those situations. All right, but for the most part, we're trying to reestablish that base. All right, when we first get them back. All right, a low conditioning emphasis. Like I said, they've got a great base up underneath them. I got to build them back up. All right, I got to build their bodies back up. We got to make our body compositional changes, and we got to put that layer on thick. All right, again, like it was when we started the year. Okay, off-season phase one. Okay, more of a strength base, more of a strength emphasis as far as that first summer one period in June. Mixed anaerobic metabolic conditioning base. Off-season period 2. All right, heading into July, it's more of a strength speed emphasis. All right, with an anaerobic glycolysis type emphasis as far as conditioning goes. And then as we get into the preseason, more speed strength, more specific to what they're doing. All about jumping high, moving quick, moving fast, being explosive. All right, then more of a phosphagen system emphasis as far as the conditioning goes with the ATPPC system. All right, again, trying to start to mimic basketball. All right, the closer we get to the top of the pyramid. Okay, and then again in the in season, our power strength phase, all right, and a maintenance program. All right, I don't take a very passive approach to in-season training. All right, I'm lucky, I'm fortunate, I have the opportunity to train my guys a lot in season. All right, so we either maintain or we gain strength. All right, and we get better as the year goes on. All right, I don't really take a back seat with training. All right, and again, I'm not really going over my in-season program. All right, but again, it's very aggressive. all right, we want to make sure that we're peaking towards the end of the year, and we're peaking in March in championship time. Okay, and again, the conditioning base is more about practice and competition, obviously in the end season. Briefly want to go over this. This is something that I was very fortunate to get introduced to as a very young strength coach, as an intern, and at Eastern Michigan University under Adam Feit, and him and Donald Boucher at the Citadel created this map that kind of helps people navigate through percentages, and it's a really kind of an easy way to understand our volume and intensity, and also just how certain weight feels on the bar. Okay, so again, I'll explain this a little bit because I'm going to talk a little bit about sets and reps. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I do from a programming standpoint. But again, 100%. Okay, on the side, on the tall side right here. All right, those are your relative percentages. Okay, so 100%. All right, all the way down. All right, all these numbers are in the middle are going to be reflected off of right here. All right, these relative percentages. Okay, so for example, if I want the bar, say I'm doing a bench press. If I want the bar to feel like 90%, but I want to work in a 5 rep range, all right, that's what I'm going to put on the bar. All right, 78.8%. All right, and that's going to give me the proper stimulus that I want, all right, to train in the zone that I want to train in. All right, that's going to be where I want to be at. Okay, if I want to train at 90%. All right, again, that's just an example. Okay, right here, 80 to 87.5. That's your meat and potatoes as far as how you program. All right, especially when you're in a strength phase. All right, those are your zones that are going to give you the best strength numbers. Okay, from a strength gain standpoint. Okay, and again, if I want to work, say I want to work at 85% for the day. All right, and I'm working 5 sets of 5. Okay. Bang, right there, 74.5% is what I'm going to put on the bar from an actual training standpoint. Okay, so again, on the side you got kind of a classification. The colors kind of help you out as far as what's heavy plus, what's heavy, what's moderate, light. All right, light, too light. Okay, kind of your warm-up sets at the bottom, your unload weeks in the light, in the green. But again, those strength numbers are going to be right in the middle, right there. In your yellow range. All right, those are going to be your primary load phases. Okay, your primary load phases in your program. Okay, a little bit about just very simple guidelines from a strength, power, hypertrophy, work capacity standpoint. What zones you want to be in from a set rep standpoint. Okay, just some very basic guidelines, just so we're on the same page as far as what intensity do I want to be at to elicit the result and to elicit the stimulus that I want to have in training. All right, and then also some rep goals as far as ranges that I want to be in. Okay, Prilepin's table. Alexander Prilepin was a Soviet lifter coach in the 60s and 70s, and he kind of compiled a database of kind of his elite lifters and what worked and what didn't. And he kind of got rep ranges and numbers based off of what he felt was just enough and not too much or too little. All right, as far as rep ranges go. All right, so he's got set reps, he's got optimal total, and then he's got the total rep ranges. Okay, so this is in a day. All right, how many total lifts do I want to have programmed into my workout for the day to elicit the proper stimulus and the proper result that I want to be at. Okay. Okay, jumping into the postseason. Okay, postseason periodization. Okay, I feel like I'm not really going to jump into my postseason program, but I feel like from just so you have a general idea of where the off season heads. All right, it's all about this postseason. Okay, the postseason is going to be laying the foundation for everything that we want to accomplish when we get back in the summer. Okay, about 90% of the total volume that I want to do is going to be strength related. Okay, not a very explosive phase. Okay, about 10% is going to be speed and power. Okay, so my Olympic lifts aren't really a point of emphasis at this point of the year. All right, it's my big structural movements. It's my squats, my hinges, my presses. All right, I'm trying to lay it on thick. All right, I'm trying to reestablish body composition. I'm trying to reestablish their exercise economy. Okay, their ability to do a lot of work. Okay, they need to reestablish that foundation before we step in to a strength phase in the summer. Okay. Okay, again, postseason training goals are what we're trying to do. Okay, core strength. All right, stabilizers, the ability to stabilize joints. All right, I told you guys that's a big staple in my program. All right, that isolation, that eccentric strength. All right, joint mobility, strength endurance. All right, again, laying it on. All right, we want to make sure that we relay the foundation. All right, relay the foundation so that we're able to have success when we get into the summer months. All right, being in our strength phase and our speed strength phases. Okay, now into the off season. Okay.